Hey guys, welcome to my channel, MRCP made super easy. This is my first video and we'll be starting with gastro. Before we start the video, I'd like you to know that we'll be uploading videos every day based on different topics. Uh, my notes, if you notice as we go along, you would notice that there are a lot of highlighted pointers which would basically indicate you the important things that you need to remember. Now, there are a lot of MRCP aspirants that are trying to crack this exam, especially the first part. So we'll focus on trying to get you over the line. Right. So the first topic that we're gonna do in gastro is Clostridium difficile. Now, this is an important topic. Now, the reason why I say that is because you do get at least 3 to 4 questions from this, and I also my sources for using studying or preparing for MRCP Part 1 is uh, Past Medicine Question Bank, which is in the form of available in the form of notes as well. If you guys need it, I'll be putting a link of it in my YouTube channel section, so you guys can get access to it. Apart from that, I go through various internet sources and try to accommodate notes as much as possible, pictures, so that we're able to better remember things. And I also definitely recommend using Anki because it's going to help you remember things in the long run. So let's get into today's topic. Right, so gastro. So let's go with Clostridium difficile. Now this is a mean bacteria, and by that, when I say mean bacteria, it really is a mean bacteria. We will understand that in just a short while. Now, what is the type of bacteria? This is for our information. Now this guy, this mean bacteria called Clostridium, is a gram-positive rod. So he has a pretty positive attitude, and so we'll just say that it's a positive bacteria. No matter how bad the condition is, it will find a way to survive. So it's a gram-positive rod, and it survives and it flourishes in an environment, well, hostile environment, I would say. Hospitals, not homes but hospitals, where people go to get treated. So it flourishes in these environments. Now what does bacteria do? As you can see, this bacteria produces an exotoxin. Okay, let's just say that this is a toxin that is bad. Okay, now this toxin is special. Why is it special? It is special because it is able to survive in the acidic environment. Now if you look at this picture over here, you have this evil looking Clostridium bacilli, right? Now here it is releasing its endospores, or you could say the exotoxins. Now these toxins are special. Why? Because they're able to survive in the acidic environment of the stomach. And then you could see they reach the large intestine and they go for an all-out attack, basically. And then they tend to flourish in this colonic region. And the toxins that are released, they cause intestinal and mucosal damage, right? And as a result of this, it produces what is known as a pseudomembranous colitis. Now these are nosocomial bacteria that are there within your body, and they become infective when they get the proper environment. So so to remember it simply, these are gram-positive rods that produces exotoxins, and these exotoxins go and damage the mucosa, resulting in development of a condition called as pseudomembranous colitis. Right, so this picture will help you remember. Now why does that happen? Why it happens only in hospitals? That's an important question. Now the problem is, when somebody is admitted to a hospital, you are admitted with an infection, let's say, and you get broad spectrum antibiotic to treat that infection. Now that's when it gets tricky. You see, when you give broad spectrum antibiotics, right, the normal gut flora is either altered or it is suppressed because we are using broad spectrum antibiotics. And that's when this infection, Clostridium, becomes hostile. The common antibiotics. Now this is an important question that you're asked most often. Clindamycin is an important antibiotic, so you would probably be asked that A patient was admitted to a hospital and received second generation or third generation cephalosporins, PPIs or clindamycin. The patient went on to develop crampy abdominal pain with severe diarrhea, hypotension, or features of toxic megacolon. Always, always, always think of Clostridium difficile, right? So let's look at the clinical features. As I've told you, since we're talking about gut, so you'll have diarrhea, right? Now, if you're going to have diarrhea, you're going to have crampy abdominal pain, right? And since it's bacteria, we're looking at an infection. So the TLC count will rise TLC count. And then you will develop features of toxic megacolon because they are releasing exotoxins into your body. So you will develop features of shock. Now, what are the features of shock? You will have hypotension, tachycardia, you will have toxic look on your face, acidotic breathing pattern, you name it and the patient has it, right? Now, how do you diagnose it? Now, this is another important question. From the clinical features, you will get a question on raised TLC count. Now, if you see someone with crampy abdominal pain, diarrhea, raised TLC count, admitted to hospital, receiving antibiotics, always think of Clostridium. Now, the diagnosis, we do something called as a Clostridium difficile toxin in the stools. If you look at the stools of these patients, you would see or you would detect Clostridium difficile toxin. Now, another important thing to remember is if we find Clostridium antigen, it does not really indicate to you that the patient has an active infection. Rather, it tells you that he has been exposed to Clostridium. It may or may not indicate an active infection, so remember that. Let's look at the treatment from where we also get a lot of questions. First line of treatment, always remember, go for oral metronidazole. Start the patient on oral metronidazole for 10 to 14 days. Now, if the patient is suffering from severe features, let's say he's suffering from features of toxicity or he's developing hypotension, then go for oral vancomycin, right? Now, if you have a patient, now this is not very important, but you need to know, if you have a patient with comorbids, you could go for fidaxomicin. And if it is a life-threatening infection, like I said, where the TLC counts are off the charts, off limits, raised TLC counts, features of toxic megacolon, hypotension, tachycardia, start the patient on IV metronidazole and add oral vancomycin along with it. And you need to know something. Once an infection occurs, the chances of reinfection is around 20% in the patients. And that increases to up to 50% after the first exposure. So more the recurrent infection, the more the percentage of getting hit with another infection is pretty high. So the take-home message is the treatment part, where you start the patient on oral metronidazole. If the patient has severe features or does not respond to oral metronidazole, go for vancomycin. If the patient has comorbids, use fidaxomicin. And if it is a life-threatening condition, use IV metronidazole and oral vancomycin. Diagnose the patient by going for a Clostridium difficile toxin in stools. And if clinical features are asked, look for abdominal crampy pain with diarrhea, raised TLC counts, and features of toxicity. Common antibiotics, clindamycin, second and third generation cephalosporins, and PPIs. And you can just look at that picture always to help you remember things in a more better way. The evil Clostridium difficile causing all the damage leading to pseudomembranous colitis. Now, once you watch this video and taken a note of this, you could use Anki and you could try to do the cards and you would feel a lot more better. Revision, keep reading this over and over again. That's the way forward. That's how you move forward and clear MRCP. So it's not a one read thing. You need to go back and revise your things. So until next time, guys, take care and we'll see you again. Thank you.